Hello everyone, I'm Rob Kiroli and welcome to another webcast by Two Wise Heads, the collaboration between myself and Paul Thewlis, looking at issues faced by small business owners today. In today's Wisdom of Hindsight webcast, I'll be interviewing Patrick Mann, who will share with us some important contemporary marketing principles for small business. Hello Patrick.
Hi Rob, and hello everyone watching this webcast. I'm really looking forward to sharing some important knowledge with you all today.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this session, Patrick, as we have some great bonuses to give away at the conclusion as well, so please look out for them. What Patrick will be focusing on today is the indifference among small businesses towards unacceptable marketing outcomes, the short-sightedness of some current practices, and he'll present the systems to overcome these issues. As a result, you may come to realise that most of what you've learnt about marketing may be wrong, given the environment created by the internet and the knowledge, perspective and expectations of your customers and prospects. So Patrick, what do you see as the main issues surrounding small business marketing today?
Well Rob, the vast majority of business owners seem to accept that 0 to 3% is successful when it comes to generating leads and growing their business, if they do any marketing at all. Not only is this unfortunate, it should be totally unacceptable. Most businesses today spend some money on marketing and advertising and then decide that whatever results they get from their marketing, it's probably about as good as it's going to get. Ignoring the potential of marketing can put a business at risk. The issue, Rob, is that if a business owner accepts and undertakes marketing for 0 to 3% success, it strongly suggests that what they've been taught about marketing is wrong. There are two main components to any marketing plan: strategic marketing and tactical marketing. Strategic marketing is the content of your message. It's what you say and how you say it, including the concepts that you choose to focus on, the words and images you use to communicate those concepts, and the tone in which the message is delivered. Tactical marketing, on the other hand, has to do with the execution of the strategic marketing, such as placing ads, building a website, attending trade shows, and things like that. If I ask a business owner about their marketing plan, the answer almost always comes back in terms of tactical marketing. They send direct mail, they run radio ads, create a website, all those kind of things. But the key to effective marketing is to master the strategic side, not the tactical. What you say in your marketing and how you say it are almost always more important than the marketing medium where you say it. Both are important, of course, but the real leverage is in messaging itself, and that's the strategic side of marketing. In fact, when a marketing campaign bombs, the tendency is almost always to blame the marketing medium like the TV or radio station, which is the tactical part of the plan, without any regard as to how good or bad the strategy was behind that marketing piece. In this presentation, you'll learn how to say things in a way that will make a profound difference to your marketing results.
That's so very true, Patrick. I find a number of my clients are so focused on the tactical aspects, they don't really appreciate the importance of the message itself. So what would you say is the actual purpose of marketing? I mean, what is marketing really supposed to do?
Well, in a nutshell, Rob, marketing is supposed to help facilitate your prospect's decision-making process. There are prospects out there that need to buy what you sell. Sometimes they need to be educated to the fact that they need to buy what you sell in the first place. And other times, they already know that they want it, but they need help deciding who they should buy it from. Some think they might want what you sell, but they've got questions and concerns that need to be overcome before they'll pull out their credit card. But most critical, 95% of prospects are not ready to buy now, and managing this fact is vital to marketing success. But consider this: because your prospects are not experts in what you do, or their exposure to what you sell is quite low, they don't really know the relevant issues surrounding the purchase. They don't know how to make the best decision. They can't tell the difference between the best deal and a major mistake. This leaves you with the opportunity to provide them with this information and guide them through the buying process. So your job as a business owner, simply put, is to facilitate your prospects' decision making, and this is actually quite simple. Prospects and customers want much the same thing, and it really doesn't matter what type of business you have. They want to feel confident that their money has been well spent and that their decision has been made to the best of their ability. They want to get the best deal, not just the best price, but the best deal in terms of overall value. People instinctively want to make the best decision possible and not feel they've got to second guess their buying decision. All you have to do as the marketer is work out what's important to your prospects. Educate them as to what constitutes the best deal when it comes to buying what you sell. Remember, it's all about value. And then show them quantifiable proof that you can actually provide the best deal in terms of price and value.
Well, that all sounds pretty like a simple formula, Patrick. There must be a catch.
Well, Rob, the catch is most businesses don't understand or don't bother with what their prospects want. Instead of facilitating, they fill their marketing with self-serving jargon that's only a thinly veiled way to say, buy it from me because I want you to give me the money instead of my competitor. That's why people become jaded and why they resist marketing. They tend to either dismiss your entire marketing message or worse, they become skeptical and stop paying attention to the message altogether. Prospects want and need to be educated so they can be confident in their purchasing decision. Very few are providing this in their marketing. The key point here is that the first one who does provide prospects with this sort of information wins all the most profitable customers. When marketing is done improperly, the end result is 100% predictable. You start to feel intense pricing pressure from your prospects and, typically, you're forced to cave in, lower your prices, destroy your margins and make much less money than you should have just to stay competitive. And you get to spend more time at work than those that market successfully. But the fact is, if you're always competing on price, it's your own fault. Your lack of marketing ability has led to a situation where there's no discernible difference between you and your competition. If you feel you're competing on price, it's because the only variable you're giving your prospects is price. There have been no other relevant issues introduced when it comes to buying what you sell, so price is all the prospect has got to go on.
Okay, so what does a business owner need to do, Patrick?
Well, the first step is to develop a better understanding of their business in the eyes of their existing and potential customers. There are actually two sides to your business. First, there's what I call the inside reality, and second, what I call the outside perception. The inside reality encompasses everything you do and everything that makes your business great. It's all about your skills, the people who work for you, your expertise, the way you service your customers before, during and after the sale. It's your systems, your operational procedures, your commitment to excellence. It's your passion and the way you conduct your business on a daily basis. Add all these together and they equal the value to the marketplace in your eyes. However, outside perception has to do with how customers and prospects perceive your company. The outside perception is developed through the interactions and understanding, if any, that your prospects and customers have with your business. Your customers will draw on their past buying experiences with you to form the outside perception of your business. But here's the problem. If you provide unmatched and unequal customer service and your customers absolutely love you, none of that matters to your prospects if, number one, they don't even know you exist as an option, or number two, they see your marketing and advertising and, because of your inability to market your business properly, their perception is that you're no different, no better, or no worse than your competitors. I'd estimate that well over 95% of all businesses are inept when it comes to marketing, and the end result is that their inside reality and the outside perception do not match. At best, they face a difficulty in growing their business, or worse, it becomes unsustainable. So, to those watching this presentation, what's your outside perception? Grab your marketing material, have a look at your ads, take a look at your website. Is it instantly obvious, specific and quantifiable? What makes you better, unique and different? Do you show your prospects how to judge your industry, what factors they need to consider when deciding what to buy, and how you provide greater value than any of your competitors? For most businesses, the outside perception does not accurately reflect their inside reality. Why, you ask? The problem is, all of us today have grown up in the era of brand builders. We've learnt about slogans and jingles and being funny, or worse, simply matching what we see of ourselves and our competitors. We learned also that in marketing and advertising, outside perception no longer has to reflect the inside reality. This might work for larger companies, but For the majority of small business owners conditioned in this way, they are reduced to adopting jargon. As a result, jargon tends to dominate all marketing and advertising. Think of jargon as words or phrases that are dreary and commonplace and predictable. They lack power to evoke interest through overuse or repetition, and are nevertheless stated as though they were original or significant. In advertising, you see and hear jargon all the time. Since businesses only have 30 seconds to try and convey what makes them special, they lump everything into jargon such as largest selection, most professional, lowest prices, highest quality, best service, fastest, most convenient, we specialise, works harder for you, etc., etc. If your advertising makes a claim such as quality product, fair price, 100% satisfaction, what is the most likely response in your prospect's head? Wouldn't they be thinking, well, I would hope so? These terms are dreary, commonplace, and, most critically, they're expected. They are jargon and simply don't help your prospect, particularly with the transparency available through the internet. I recently saw a TV ad for a home renovation company. Throughout the ad, they continuously emphasised the fact that their work was of the highest quality, it was fairly priced, and they guaranteed 100% satisfaction. Well, I would hope so. If a consulting company promised you higher profits and business growth on their website, wouldn't you think, well, I would hope so? The problem is that the advertiser sees only their own exceptional inside reality, and by using jargon, they become the same as everyone else. The outside perception is that you're all the same, and that's when prospects default to the company offering the lowest price. Price becomes the only determining factor. So, Jargon Evaluator number 1. Ask yourself if your prospect's immediate response might be, well, I would hope so. If the answer is yes, your advertising has failed. And here's Jargon Evaluation tool number 2. It's called Who Else Can Say That? This is similar to the first evaluation technique, and it's also a product of the era of the brand builders. Pay close attention to this one. Stop thinking in terms of who else can do what you do. Instead, think in terms of who else can say what you say. Because the answer, unfortunately, is usually anybody and everybody can say what you say.
Okay, so can you provide an example, Patrick?
Yes, I can. I met an owner of a kitchen company that ran by far the most impressive business in his area. Every member of his crew had at least 15 years experience. They were all certified subcontractors, and they'd won multiple industry awards. They were the only kitchen company that provided not only a full satisfaction guarantee, but also a 10-year material and labour warranty on everything they did. They left the job site every night cleaner than when they first arrived. They also guaranteed they could remodel any kitchen in no more than 5 days, half the time of their competitors. This, of course, meant far less disruption and inconvenience to the homeowner. But their marketing looked virtually identical to all of their far less worthy competitors. Their marketing said things like certified subcontractors, guaranteed satisfaction, and then a long laundry list of the work they performed, such as new cabinets installed, complete kitchen remodelling, and so on. Oh, and yes, they accept Visa and MasterCard. Well, I would hope so. But then, ask this question, who else can say that? When the owner of the renovation company was asked that very question, he got really defensive. He said, there's no other remodeler that can begin to match the work we do. Our subcontractors are far and away the best there is. No one, and I mean no one, can say what we say. Understandably, this contractor was extremely passionate and protective when it came to the superior company he had worked so long and hard to develop over the years. So finally, to try to get the point across to him, he was asked to pull up the website of his 5 main competitors. His jaw dropped to the floor. He knew they were terrible, but their websites were virtually identical to his. So remember, it's not who can do what you do, it's who can say what you say when it comes to marketing. And if your marketing is full of jargon, then sadly, the answer is all of your competitors can. Let me give you one more final jargon detection evaluation. It's called the Scratch Out, Write In test. Take a look at your brochure, advertisement or website. Now, scratch out your name and write in your competitor's name. That's it. If the marketing is still valid, if the website still conveys the same basic message, if there wouldn't need to be any additional changes, then guess what? You just failed this test. The underlying problem is that the bulk of business owners don't understand that marketing is a process, not an event. Let me introduce you to the conversion equation. It has four main components. I'll start with a brief introduction and then I'll go into more detail. The first component of the conversion equation is called interrupt. This is simply the process of getting the prospect's attention, often accomplished by affecting the prospect emotionally. Engage. Give the reader the promise that information is forthcoming that will help them make the best decision possible, or in other words, facilitate their decision-making process. This is also best accomplished on an emotional level. The third one is educate. Once you've interrupted and engaged the prospect, you have to give them information that will allow them to logically understand how and why you'll solve that emotional problem. This is accomplished by giving detailed, quantifiable, specific, inside reality revealing information. And finally, offer. This gives the prospect a low, or better yet, no risk way for them to take the next step in the sales process. This can be accomplished by offering a free marketing tool such as a report, a brochure, seminar, audio, video, or something similar that educates them even more, so the prospect feels in complete control of the decision-making process.
Okay, Patrick, so how do we introduce the conversion equation?
Well, Rob, there's a commonly used expression that if you want to know why Jane Doe buys what Jane Doe buys, you've got to see the world through Jane Doe's eyes, right? Well, I would submit to you that if you want to know what Jane Doe does, you'd better first understand how Jane Doe's brain works, how it processes information and makes decisions. To understand this process, there are three main concepts you need to understand. These concepts will make all the difference in your marketing's effectiveness and your company's profitability. The three things you need to know about Jane Doe's brain are downtime, uptime, and the reticular activation system, also known as the reticular activator.
The reticular activating system, Patrick, that brings me back to my uni days studying physiology. So you're going to cover downtime first, right?
Yep. So downtime. Simply put, this is the hypnotic state of running automatic patterns that allows your brain to perform habitual tasks without any conscious thought. You do this all the time. For instance, have you ever driven to work and when you get there you don't remember making the trip? That's downtime. This occurs because driving to work is a habitual pattern that you do so frequently that you don't have to consciously think about it. Have you ever stepped out of the shower and couldn't remember if you shampooed your hair? The reason is your brain performs all of these daily routine functions with no conscious thought. Now, here's what downtime means in terms of marketing. People see and hear ads with their eyes and ears, but they don't notice them on a conscious level. If you open a newspaper, you'll be looking at maybe 70% ads and only 30% bona fide news articles. But because the ads are only seen on a downtime level, 9.9 times out of 10, you won't consciously notice them at all. All you consciously see is the news, which is what you were there for in the first place.
Okay, so that's downtime. Now, uptime. I assume that's when we're actually attentive, right?
That's correct, Rob. The second concept is uptime, which is the brain's state of alertness or active engagement. It's like when you're driving on the freeway in a heavy thunderstorm. Your hands firmly gripped on the wheel at 10 and 2 o'clock positions, and your pupils are as big as saucers. You're sensitive and responsive to everything around you. You're in uptime when you're watching a horror movie and you hear the music building to a crescendo in anticipation of something scary happening. You can think of uptime as your brain going on alert mode. But here's what uptime means when it comes to your marketing. When your prospect is in uptime mode, they consciously notice your ad or marketing piece, and they're open to your suggestions and solutions. Something captures their attention and compels them to keep paying attention. The key to marketing is to get your prospect out of downtime and into uptime. We want to shake them out of their natural subconscious haze, where they never see your ad or marketing piece, and into uptime, where they are fully conscious and aware of what you're trying to communicate to them. Once you understand how to do this, you'll have the ability to make a fortune with your marketing.
So now onto the reticular activator, Patrick.
That's right. So to completely grasp this model, you've got to learn this third major concept about how Jane Doe's brain works, which is called the reticular activator. The reticular activator is the part of your brain that's on the lookout 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when you're asleep. It constantly scans the environment looking for things that fall into any of these three categories: things that are familiar, things that are unusual, and things that are problematic. When the brain detects any of these three categories on a subconscious level, it sends a message over to the conscious side of the brain and says, "Hey, wake up. There's something here you need to pay attention to. And, by the way, whatever those familiar, unusual, or problematic things are, we call them activators." In short, your brain on a subconscious level is constantly on the lookout for activators. It's searching for things that are familiar, things that are unusual, or things that are problematic. In other words, things that demand a conscious response. Whenever it finds one, it pokes your conscious brain and it snaps it out of downtime sleep mode and into uptime alert mode. Let me give you an example of the raw power of your own reticular activator, and please don't get mad at me for what I'm about to do to you. I'm going to permanently embed this example directly into your reticular activation system, and I guarantee that you will remember this for the remainder of your life on this planet. So seriously, here we go. I'm certain that at some stage over the past year, you've seen a FedEx truck making its deliveries, or maybe the FedEx logo at a sporting event. FedEx has been in business since 1971. So let me ask you a question. How many times have you seen the FedEx sign? Never? Several? Or hundreds? Thousands? So here's the question number 2. Have you ever seen the hidden message within the FedEx logo? Yes, that's a serious question. Did you know that there's a hidden message within every FedEx logo? If you're saying right now that's impossible, you've seen that logo thousands of times, and you certainly would have noticed a message in there at some point in time, then join the crowd. 99% of the population have never seen that hidden message. Are you ready for me to tell you where it is? Next time you see a FedEx logo, look between the E and the X in FedEx. You'll see an arrow pointing to the right. It's as plain as day, and yet very few people have ever detected it over all these years. And guess what? That logo is specifically designed that way from the start. It isn't just something that happened by coincidence when the designer created it. Almost no one sees it. But guess what? You will now see it every single time you look at that logo. Why? Because now that I've drawn your attention to it, coupled with the fact you had no idea it was there before, the next time you see that arrow, your brain will perceive it to be unusual, and that automatically triggers your reticular activator. Remember, things that are familiar, unusual, or problematic poke your brain and make you pay attention through your reticular activator. But guess what's going to happen next? Now that you know that arrow is there, every time you see that FedEx logo, your brain will immediately seek out the arrow. And as you observe it over and over, the arrow will move from being unusual to being familiar. And in both of those cases, guess what else happens? You will only notice the arrow for a second or two because your brain activates when it sees it, moving you from downtime into uptime. But since the arrow isn't really relevant or important to you, your brain quickly reverts back to downtime.
All right, so that's a great example, Patrick, but what does this all have to do with marketing?
Well, Rob, that is the question, and the short answer is everything. Understanding what wakes people up so they pay attention is what's going to get our marketing message past the interrupt stage and onto the engage stage. And when we engage your prospect, you've just increased your chances of selling to buy 1,000%. But I think we all understand that the aim of creative advertising is to dream up something so weird, so strange, so shocking, so unusual that it'll snap you out of downtime and into uptime. But here's the critical message. Once the brain is activated, once it's been broken out of downtime and into uptime alert mode, it wants to be engaged. So it immediately and subconsciously searches for additional clarifying information. If it doesn't get relevant information, it will quickly slip back to downtime. The brain will search for hot buttons, e.g. take a Tiger Woods. If you're a golf fan, a club might be relevant, but if it's a car he's promoting, maybe it's not. If the brain finds hot buttons that are relevant to it, it'll become engaged. If not, it reverts to downtime. An activator is something that snaps a person from downtime to uptime, and as you now understand, is based on something that's familiar, unusual, or problematic. But an activator can also be classified as a hot button if and only if it's based on something that's important and relevant to your prospect. Your name in a crowded room is called out. Your brain is instantly activated, but it wasn't for you, so you revert to downtime. This is called false uptime. The FedEx logo You'll continue to remember it because it's unusual, but you'll quickly revert to it because it's now not relevant to you. In marketing, this happens all the time. There is often the interrupt, but nothing that is relevant, so you quickly revert to downtime. This is one of the things almost no one understands, and one of the main reasons why marketing fails. You've been conditioned to believe that as long as you've interrupted the prospect, that's it. That's good enough. The job is done. But you have to realise that if you only interrupt the prospect, that's only 1/4 of the conversion equation. You've got to include all 4 components: interrupt, engage, educate and offer, to get the maximum results for your marketing and advertising. You've got maybe 3 seconds maximum to position hot buttons as a headline for your prospects. The headline is the first opportunity to interrupt, so you'd better make sure that the headline has activators in it, and those activators are based on things that are important and relevant to that prospect. Remember hot buttons, words and phrases that describe problems or frustrations that the prospect is feeling, so that their reticular activator latches onto them and snaps them into uptime.
Okay, Patrick, so that brings us to the third and the fourth components of the conversion equation: educate and offer. So tell us more about them.
I mentioned earlier in the presentation that every marketing piece should contain a risk-lowering offer to encourage the prospect to take the next step. And that offer should generally be to receive additional information, or in other words, to further educate the prospect and to build your case. But now, here's the real key to success in marketing. The right offer allows you to capture a large percentage of all future buyers, in addition to those looking to buy right now. There's an educational process that the prospect goes through, from the moment they begin thinking about buying your product or service, to the point where they actually complete the purchase. Most marketing only caters for those now buyers who will be making a purchasing decision in the very near future, and does nothing or very little to educate those who are just thinking about it right now, but who might buy later. And just to be sure you understand the importance of this, at any given moment, those who are ready to buy right now represent no more than 1 to 5% of your prospects. 95 to 99% of your prospects are in the thinking about it, gathering information only mode. But they're attempting to gather information and you don't give it to them. This is where the fourth component of the conversion equation becomes absolutely huge. Your offer gives the opportunity to provide additional educational information, and in the process it captures valuable information about who these people are, so that you can proactively market them on an ongoing basis. This allows you to take control of your target market. But I'll leave it there and hand back to Rob, and he can summarise what we've covered today.
Thanks for that, Patrick. Yeah, that's some really compelling information. So in summary, we've covered a number of issues that every small business needs to consider in their marketing. Firstly, your marketing must focus on the strategy rather than the tactics. Tactics will deliver your strategy. Secondly, drop the jargon. It's dreary and meaningless. Think carefully about your words, and do they distinguish and add value to your offer? Thirdly, set to one side your inside reality. Know the conversation in your prospect's head, their emotional needs, their problems, their hot buttons. Fourth, you must give your prospects an alternative to price. Fifth, of course, is the conversion equation is essential, and you have to use all 4 components to maximise your marketing success. You have to interrupt, inform, educate, and then offer. Next, you have to keep their attention. You need to engage, be relevant, maintain their uptime. We also learnt that to facilitate their decision, you need to educate and offer. That's your role. Don't sell. We also learnt that 95% of prospects aren't ready to buy. The right offer allows you to capture future buyers or those who are not ready. This must be a major consideration in any form of marketing. The next part is it's a system and a process, not an event. So help your clients make their buying decision. Above all, don't accept 3% success for your marketing just because your competitor does. Your competitor's indifference gives you the opportunity. If you are indifferent, you are giving your competitors an opportunity on a platter. Lastly, if you need help with this, then make sure you get it. Now, you do have a product that helps business owners develop their strategic and tactical marketing skills, and more importantly, follows the principles we've discussed today. Tell us more about it.
Yes, Rob, your Business Accelerator is an e-learning system which combines learning, extensive marketing resources and accountability to keep business owners on track and apply what they learn to their business. This has been tested overseas and locally with outstanding results. It's proven to be a most effective way for business owners to establish successful and sustainable marketing processes. It's the result of 2 years of development and a $2 million investment between ourselves and a Canadian-based company. Your Business Accelerator provides information and an outstanding library of resources for lead generation, sales, and increasing profits. Unlike other forms of support and education available for small business, we also include personal mentoring to ensure the business owner remains accountable and maximises the return on their investment. By visiting our website and registering their interest for more information, those viewing this webcast will have an opportunity to download a free one-page business planning template. They'll also have the opportunity to request a marketing evaluation. This maps the conversion equation and the principles outlined today.
That's great, Patrick. The one-page business plan's a wonderful template for small business owners, and the marketing evaluation does give a good idea on how your marketing holds up to the principles that we've shared here today. So thanks for your time today. If anyone has any questions, then add a comment below wherever you're watching this webcast, or post a question through your Business Accelerator website, or email info@yourbusinessaccelerator.com.au, and either Patrick or I will get back to you. And you can watch our previous webinars and webcasts at our twowiseheads.com.au website. Thanks for listening in.